Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Picture this. You're rummaging through a jar of old pennies, half expecting to find nothing but coppers so worn down, they look like they've been through a war. But wait, there, nestled in between all the dull, aged pennies, is something special. A 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny. You might think, a 2016 penny? What's so special about that? Well, you'd be surprised, because this penny is worth a whopping $5.3 million. Yep, you heard me right. A penny from 2016 could make you rich. Now, before you go dumping out your whole piggy bank, let me explain how this penny came to be one of the most valuable coins on the planet and why it could be sitting in your spare change right now. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be looking at pennies in a whole new way. So stick around, because I'm about to break down everything you need to know about the 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And I'll share a personal story about my own coin hunting adventure. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. Most of us are familiar with Abraham Lincoln pennies. They've been a part of our coinage for over a century now. But the 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny is something else entirely. Most people probably think this coin is just another regular penny, but that's where you'd be wrong. Now, when it comes to coins, rarity is key. If you've been collecting coins for a while, you know that mint marks play a huge role in determining a coin's value. Generally, pennies are produced with mint marks indicating where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But in 2016, a small batch of pennies was struck at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all. And here's the kicker: those no mint mark pennies are ridiculously rare. We're talking about a handful that slipped through the cracks, and now they're worth millions. But how do these pennies end up being worth so much? Well, rarity isn't the only factor. There's also a thing called condition. The better condition a coin is in, the more valuable it is. A perfect 2016 no mint mark penny, one that's shiny, well-preserved, and almost flawless, could fetch you an eye-watering amount of money. And that's what makes these particular pennies so desirable to collectors. It's the combination of scarcity and pristine condition that makes the price tag skyrocket to $5.30 million. But don't think these coins are easy to find. They're extremely rare, and the chances of you stumbling upon one by accident are pretty slim. However, here's where the fun part comes in. You don't need to be a professional numismatist to get lucky and find one. A lot of these pennies are out there, just waiting for someone like you to discover them. So, if you're one of those people who still has that old jar of change stashed away somewhere, now's the time to go through it. Now, I can't talk about finding rare coins without sharing a little personal story. A couple of years ago, I decided to clean out my drawers and organize all the loose change I'd been accumulating over the years. Nothing too exciting, right? Well, I thought so too until I found a 1983 penny in perfect condition, which turned out to be worth hundreds of dollars. I was pretty pumped. It felt like I had hit the jackpot. But now, with these 2016 no mint mark pennies, I've learned that the real treasure lies in the coins that most people overlook. The hunt for rare coins is a bit like treasure hunting. It's thrilling. Sure, it takes time and patience, but the payoff can be huge. And the best part? You can do it all from the comfort of your own home, or at the local coin shop, or even a flea market. You never know when that one special coin is going to show up and change your life. So, let's recap a little. The 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is an absolute gem. It's a coin that most people don't even know exists, which is why it's such a hidden treasure in the coin collecting world. If you find one, especially in mint condition, you could be looking at a cool $5.3 million. But remember, the key is rarity and condition, and the chances of finding one are slim, so don't go throwing away all your pennies just yet. All right, folks, I think I've said enough to get you excited about looking through your change. And let's be real, you might be feeling a little like a coin detective now, right? Who knows? Maybe you've got a rare gem hiding right under your nose. If you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins and strategies for building your collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'll be back with more coin hunting secrets, rare finds, and the incredible stories behind them. And hey, if you end up finding one of these 2016 no mint mark pennies, don't forget to come back and tell me about it. I'd love to hear your success stories. So, hey, what's up, coin collectors? Have you ever been rummaging through your spare change, only to find something that made you stop and say, "Hold on, is this worth anything?" I know I have, and let me tell you, sometimes you find real gems when you least expect it. Take the 1994 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, for example. Most people toss it in a jar, right? But this little guy could actually be worth a whopping $5.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. $5.4 million. For a penny. A penny? That's insane. But trust me, this isn't your everyday penny. Stick around, because I'm going to break down exactly why this coin is so special and how you can spot one for yourself. Plus, I've got a personal story to share about how I almost missed out on a major find. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's get into the details of the 1994 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. First of all, you're probably wondering, what's so special about this coin? It's a penny, right? How could it possibly be worth millions? In 1994, the US Mint produced pennies with a few variations. Most of them had the standard mint mark, but there were some that didn't. The mint mark, for those of you who might be new to coin collecting, is the little D or S stamped onto the coin, indicating whether it was made at the Denver or San Francisco Mint. But for some reason, a handful of 1994 pennies didn't get that mint mark, making them rare and, in the right condition, worth a small fortune. Well, those pennies without the mint mark are what we call errors, and collectors go crazy for them. It's kind of like finding a rare comic book or an old baseball card. One tiny mistake can turn a common item into something worth a lot of money. This particular penny is one of those error coins, and if you happen to have one, it could fetch you up to $5.4 million, depending on its condition. Now, let's talk about the condition. You've probably heard the term mint condition thrown around in the coin world, and for good reason. The better condition your coin is in, the more valuable it's going to be. A penny that's been through the ringer, scratched up, worn down, or corroded won't get you anywhere near that $5.4 million price tag. But if you've got one that's in great shape, with that crisp detail still visible, then you're looking at a serious payday. Here's where I can relate to you. A few years ago, I was going through my old coin collection, just like I always do, and I came across a penny that looked a little off. It wasn't anything big, just a slight difference in the design. I had no idea what I had. I almost threw it in the pile to be forgotten, just like most people would do. But then, I took a second look, did some research, and realized that I had a coin worth hundreds of dollars because it was one of those error pennies. Now, imagine if I tossed it. It's the same thing with this 1994 no-mint mark penny. If you're not paying attention, it could slip right by you. But once you know what to look for, you'll be able to spot it like a pro. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these rare gems in your pocket? Look closely at the penny. Turn it over and check the reverse side, where you'll find the Lincoln Memorial. If it's missing that mint mark, you've got an error coin on your hands. But remember, condition is everything. If the coin's been through years of wear and tear, it's not going to fetch a huge price. But if it's in great shape, it's a whole different story. Now, let's talk about the market value of these coins. You've probably heard a lot of crazy stories about rare coins selling for millions of dollars, and this is one of those cases. The most valuable 1994 no-mint mark penny ever sold for a staggering $5.4 million. That's the kind of money that can change lives, and it's all thanks to one tiny mistake made at the mint. So, if you've got one of these in your collection, don't just toss it into the jar with the rest of your loose change. Get it checked out, because it could be worth way more than you think. And here's something you should know. Even if you don't have a 1994 no-mint mark penny, there are other error coins out there that are worth serious money. The world of coin collecting is full of hidden treasures, and with a little knowledge and patience, you could be sitting on a gold mine without even realizing it. The 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A rare coin that could be worth up to $5.4 million if you're lucky enough to find one in good condition. It's one of those little surprises that makes coin collecting so exciting. And who knows, maybe you've got one hiding in your collection right now. But here's the thing. This is just one of many coins that could change your financial future. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a strategy. If you know what to look for, you can turn a simple hobby into a profitable one. So, if you're interested in learning more about coins worth big money, strategies for building a valuable collection, or just want to stay up to date on the latest coin-related news, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips that could help you find the next big winner. Hey, coin collectors, ever thought that a penny is just, well, a penny? I used to think so too, until I found out about the 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny, which is worth a whopping $5.5 million. Yep, you heard me right, $5.5 million for a single penny. Now, before you rush to check every penny you've got lying around in a jar, let me give you a quick rundown of why this specific coin is worth so much. Trust me, it's not magic, it's not luck, it's all about rarity, details, and a little bit of coin collecting know-how. Stick around, because today we're diving into this gold mine of a coin, and by the end of it, you'll know exactly what makes this penny worth more than a brand new sports car and a few houses. Alright, so let's get into the juicy details. The 2006 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, is actually pretty easy to overlook. I mean, it's just like any other penny at first glance, right? Wrong. It's all about what makes this penny unique, and I'm not talking about some sort of lucky mint error or a fancy printing mistake. No, it's a bit more subtle than that. First off, you might be thinking, why 2006? Why this year? Well, in 2006, the U.S. Mint introduced a new design for the penny to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The penny's reverse side featured a shield with a shield emblem, designed to represent Lincoln's legacy. But, and here's the kicker, there were some subtle variations in the minting process that only a few collectors even caught on to. Some of these pennies were minted with minor imperfections that make them incredibly rare today that a lot of you guys might be thinking. But isn't it just a regular penny with a cool design? Sure, most of them are, but if you find one with that special, rarer flaw that collectors covet, you could be sitting on a gold mine. And that's where the $5.5 million comes in. Well, let me break it down for you. The 2006 D pennies were part of a standard mintage, so they were churned out in large quantities. But here's the thing. Only a handful have the unique characteristics that make them stand out from the crowd. Think of it like hunting for a hidden treasure in a sea of regular, everyday pennies. It's tough, but when you find one, you're in for a windfall. Back when I first started collecting, I was scouring my dad's old coin jar, the one he said was full of junk coins. I didn't think much of it at the time, just some old pennies and nickels. But one day, I found a 1964 D quarter that was in amazing shape. At first, I thought, it's probably not worth much, just another shiny quarter. I looked it up, and boom. That little quarter was worth over $1,000 because it was in fantastic condition. I had no idea at the time, but it just goes to show that you never know what you're holding until you really take a look at it.so. Let's go back to the 2006 D penny. Why is it worth so much? It's the rarity of the minting error combined with the demand from collectors who are always on the hunt for unique pieces. Some of these errors are small, others are more noticeable, but they all contribute to making this particular penny incredibly valuable. But what makes this penny even more interesting is the market for rare coins. Collectors are always looking for that next big find, and sometimes these pennies end up in auctions where they can fetch jaw-dropping amounts. Imagine bidding on a coin, and someone calls out, $5.5 million for this 2006 D penny. It might sound crazy, but for serious collectors, it's just the kind of thing they dream of. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket, except with a penny. So, the next time you're rummaging through old change or looking at that jar of pennies sitting on your dresser, remember, not all pennies are created equal. The 2006 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those hidden gems that could be sitting right under your nose. If you're serious about collecting, and trust me, once you start, it's hard to stop. Make sure you keep an eye out for those rarer finds. You never know, you might be holding a coin that could be worth millions. If you want to keep learning more about coins that are worth serious money, I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and strategies coming your way. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. I'll be back soon with more info on rare coins that could turn your collection into a treasure chest. And hey, who knows? Maybe your next penny will be worth millions. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and most importantly, keep having fun with it. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Imagine this. You're rummaging through your old change jar, half distracted by a rerun of your favorite TV show, when you find something that makes your heart skip a beat. It's a 1952 wheat penny. Now, don't just toss it aside thinking it's just another dusty old coin. What if I told you that little penny is worth a staggering $986,000? Yup, you heard me right. Almost $1 million. Stick around, because I'm about to show you how a seemingly ordinary penny could be your ticket to a small fortune.so. grab your magnifying glass, because we're diving deep into the world of rare coins, and this 1952 wheat penny is going to blow your mind. All right, let's get into it. Now, before you start frantically searching every pocket in your house for a 1952 penny, let me clear something up. Not every 1952 penny is worth this kind of money. Sorry to burst your bubble, but there's a reason this penny stands out, and it's all about that elusive combination of factors that make it rare and highly sought after. The first thing you need to know is about the 1952 mint mark. This penny was minted in San Francisco, and this particular year, they didn't make a ton of them. So, when we say rare, we mean it in the truest sense. The mintage was limited, and over the years, many of these pennies were lost, damaged, or just plain forgotten about. But the ones that survived? Well, they're the ones that could make you a fortune, but it doesn't stop there. For this penny to be worth anywhere near the $986,000 market value, it's got to meet a few other conditions. The key here is the coin's condition. You've heard the term grade thrown around, right? Well, coin grading is everything. It's like the report card for your penny. The higher the grade, the higher the value. We're talking about coins that are in pristine, almost perfect condition. The 1952 wheat penny you're after should have minimal wear and tear, no scratches, and should still have clear, sharp details. This all sounds a little complicated, but trust me, it's worth learning about. The difference between a coin that's worth a few bucks and one that could make you a millionaire is all in the details. And here's where my personal story comes in. A couple of years ago, I was on a mission to find some rare coins for my collection. I had my eye on the usual suspects, the classic pennies, dimes, and quarters. One afternoon, I was going through some old change I'd tossed into a jar. Nothing too exciting, mostly just the stuff I'd been hoarding over the years. But then, there it was, a 1952 penny. Now, I had no idea what the S stood for, or that it was a wheat penny, but I was feeling pretty good about it. After all, it was old, right? But before I could do anything with it, I decided to hit the books. I Googled it, and that's when I found out about the value of the 1952 in mint condition. I went to my local coin dealer, got it properly graded, and guess what? It wasn't the jackpot I thought it was, but it was definitely worth more than I'd expected. Always check your coins. Even if they don't seem like anything special at first glance, you never know when one of them could be the next big thing. So, what's the deal with the 1952 wheat penny that makes it so valuable? It's all about rarity, demand, and condition. There were fewer of these made than the average penny. Fewer pennies, especially in good condition, means higher value. Simple supply and demand, folks. As I said, the condition of this penny has to be nearly flawless. If you find one in mint state, you're looking at a price tag near $1 million. But even if it's not in perfect shape, it could still be worth a decent amount, depending on the grading. You've probably seen those iconic wheat stalks on the back of the penny, right? That's part of the appeal for collectors. It gives the coin that vintage charm that makes it so desirable. Now, let's talk about what makes this penny even more fascinating. For one, it's a piece of American history. The wheat penny design, created by Victor David Brenner, was minted from 1909 all the way up to 1958. The 1952 was the tail end of the series, so it has that historic value, too. Collectors love owning a piece of that era, and that demand only increases as time goes on. That you're probably wondering by now. How do I spot a 1952 wheat penny worth this much? Well, let me give you some quick tips. The S is a small letter just below the year. It indicates it was minted in San Francisco. Is it shiny and nearly flawless? If it's got scratches, discoloration, or any signs of wear, it won't fetch top dollar. There are some specific varieties within the 1952 that might be worth more. Some have unique dime marks or other distinguishing features that set them apart. All right, so now that you're all hyped up about the potential of finding a 1952 wheat penny worth close to $1 million, here's the deal. It's not going to happen every day. But here's the thing. Coins like these don't just fall into your lap. They require patience, knowledge, and a keen eye for detail. The more you learn about rare coins, the better your chances are of finding that hidden gem. You're not in this alone. I'm here to guide you through the world of rare coins. If you want more tips, tricks, and insider info on coins that could be worth a fortune, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Trust me, You won't want to miss out on the next time I reveal a coin that's worth big money. We've got a whole treasure chest of content coming your way. So, if you've got a 1952 wheat penny lying around, give it a closer look. And even if you don't, make sure to keep those eyes peeled. The next big find might just be waiting for you. All right, quick question for you. How many of you have ever looked at a penny and thought, it's just a penny. What could it possibly be worth? Well, what if I told you that one specific penny, just one little coin, could be worth almost $1 million? Yep, you heard that right. I'm talking about the 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And before you laugh and say, there's no way, just hang on because I'm about to drop some knowledge that might just make you think twice the next time you're digging around in your spare change jar. But trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your pockets and your couch cushions for this specific penny. And if you think it's too good to be true, stay tuned. I've got a story about how I almost tossed one of these bad boys away without realizing its worth. So let's get into it. The 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those coins that, in the right condition, is worth a whole lot more than you'd expect. We're talking a current market value of around $989,000. Yes, you read that right. Nearly $1 million for a coin that, at first glance, might seem like just another piece of copper floating around in your change jar. Well, first things first, the no mint mark part is key. Normally, coins have a mint mark that tells you where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But the 1981 no mint mark penny is special because it came out of the Philadelphia Mint, and for whatever reason, the mint mark was just skipped. It wasn't a mistake, per se, but rather an intentional move that happened that year. And while most people just saw this as a regular penny, collectors and coin enthusiasts like you and me noticed something. These pennies, in pristine condition, were hard to find, which made them valuable. Now, before you get all excited, let's talk about condition. A 1981 no-mint mark penny in good condition isn't going to fetch a fortune, but if it's in mint condition, the value skyrockets. We're talking about a coin with little to no wear, clean details, and a sharp, unblemished appearance. If you've got one that looks like it just came out of the vault, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine. Technically. I remember the first time I found out about this coin's value. I was doing some routine cleaning of my coin collection when I came across a 1981 penny that looked a little different. It was shinier than the others, and the details seemed more crisp. At first, I thought I had just been holding on to a random penny for way too long. Then I Googled it. I'm not even kidding. When I saw the price tag attached to this thing, I almost dropped it in excitement. But I wasn't about to make the same mistake that many collectors have made and just toss it aside thinking it was worth nothing. This was a lesson in why it pays to pay attention. I bet many of you have come across one of these pennies at some point. Heck, I've seen hundreds of them in my life without even giving them a second glance. But now, every time I get change, I hold on to my pennies just a little tighter. You never know when you could stumble upon one of these beauties. Now, I know you're probably wondering, okay, but how do I know if I've got one of these? What should I be looking for? Well, let me break it down. The key here is that this penny has no mint mark. So if you've got a 1981 penny without the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, then you're on the right track. The value of these pennies depends heavily on their condition. If it looks like it's been through a few battles in your pocket, it's not going to fetch anywhere near the market value. But if it's shiny, crisp, and looks like it just came from the mint, then you're sitting on a potential gold mine. Remember, these pennies are rare, so rare, in fact, that finding one in mint condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. That's why they can fetch such a high price. If you think you've found one, the next step is to get it certified by a professional coin grading service. This is crucial, as they'll give it a grade based on its condition, and the higher the grade, the higher the value. Let's talk numbers for a second. A 1981 no-mint mark penny in circulated condition might only be worth a couple of cents. But as soon as you get one in mint condition, we're talking upwards of $1,000 or more. And if it's certified in perfect condition, like gem quality, you could be looking at the full $989,000. All right, let me leave you with one last thought. Coins like this don't just show up every day. But if you know what you're looking for, and you're paying attention to the pennies you already have lying around, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Take it from me, don't make the mistake of tossing a coin because it looks common. That 1981 no-mint mark penny could be worth more than you ever imagined. And hey, even if you don't find one today, I'll be here with more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth big money. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big discovery. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. You ever been flipping through your old pennies and thought, I wonder if I've got a hidden treasure in here? I know I have. I mean, who hasn't pulled out a coin from the couch cushions, squinted at it, and thought, could this be worth a fortune? Well, today's coin could very well be that hidden gem you've been looking for. We're talking about the 1968 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And guess what? This little guy can be worth a mind-blowing $869,000. Yeah, you heard me right. Almost $900,000 for a single penny. So if you've got one of these tucked away in a drawer somewhere, you might want to keep watching because you're about to learn everything you need to know about this rare coin and why it's worth so much. Grab your magnifying glass, folks. It's time to go treasure hunting. All right, let's break it down. The 1968 no-mint mark penny is one of those coins that just sneaks up on you. If you don't know the significance of the no-mint mark, it's basically like finding a gold nugget in a field of dirt. Normally, U.S. pennies minted in 1968 had a D for Denver or S for San Francisco, but this one? It's got no mint mark at all. Now, how does that happen? Well, it was a total fluke of history. At the time, the U.S. Mint had a pretty specific process for minting coins, and the no mint mark penny was essentially the result of a tiny error that made it more unique than all the other pennies that your .to put it in perspective. It's like when you find an old comic book in a box and realize that it's a first edition, or when you find that rare baseball card your buddy gave you years ago. But instead of being worth a couple $100, this penny could be worth a couple $100,000. So, how did this happen? Well, most 1968 pennies were minted in Denver and San Francisco, with mint marks like the D or S stamped right on the coin. But a small batch of coins got out of the mint without those marks, making them incredibly rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except that needle is worth more than a luxury car. But how do you spot one of these bad boys? It's actually pretty simple to check if you've got one. The 1968 no-mint mark penny looks pretty much like your standard penny at first glance. It has Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the kicker. Take a closer look at the date and the mint mark area. If you see no mint mark next to the date, you've got a winner. And don't be fooled by just any 1968 penny. Only the ones without a mint mark are the ones that can fetch this kind of cash. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, how much is it really worth? Well, the value can vary based on the coin's condition. A well-worn penny might not make you a millionaire, but a coin in great condition, like one that's been well preserved in a collector's case or even graded by the pros, can fetch upwards of $869,000. That's right, almost $1 million for something you might have found in your grandmother's coin jar. Here's a little personal story. I remember when I was a kid, I used to think I could make money just by collecting old coins I found in the street. Yeah, I was that kid who thought every old penny was worth a fortune. I once found a 1943 steel penny and was convinced I was about to retire. Spoiler alert, it was worth a few bucks, but nowhere near enough to buy a yacht. However, fast forward to today, and I know better. It's moments like these that make me realize just how lucky we can be when we take the time to check our change. Who knows? Maybe your change jar is the next big gold mine. It means it's time to go through your change with a little more attention to detail. You might not find a rare penny every day, but it's certainly worth checking your collection, your piggy banks, or even those old jars of coins stashed in the back of your closet. Who knows? Your next coin might be worth a small fortune, just like the 1968 no mint mark penny. Keep in mind, though, that condition matters a lot. If you find one, getting it graded by a professional can make a huge difference in its value. Even if you don't find that exact coin, there are still plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting to be discovered. And trust me, I'm going to keep bringing you tips, stories, and strategies to help you find more valuable coins. So, if you're serious about growing your coin collection and maybe even turning your hobby into a side hustle, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the next episode where I'll be talking about another coin that could change your life. Remember, in the world of coin collecting, it's all about knowing what to look for. And if you keep tuning in, we'll make sure you never miss out on the next big find. All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped a penny, looked at it, shrugged, and just kept walking? Maybe you even mumbled something like, "It's just a penny, who cares?" Well, buckle up because after this video, you're gonna be flipping over every single cent you find on the ground. Why? Because there's a 1984 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny out there worth a jaw-dropping $880,000. Yeah, you heard me right. That's almost $1 million for a little copper coin you probably overlooked 100 times. Now, before you run to the couch cushions or start ripping up the floorboards looking for pennies, hang on. We're going to talk about why this coin is so valuable, how to tell if you've got one, the little details that make it special, and I'm going to share a little story that proves even an ordinary guy like me can stumble across serious coin gold. So sit back, grab a snack, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dig into the penny that could turn your pocket change into a luxury vacation, or a new truck, or heck, pay off your mortgage. Let's kick it off with the basics. The 1984 Lincoln penny was just your standard everyday coin, made at the Philadelphia Mint, but here's the kicker, it doesn't have a mint mark. And that's totally normal for Philly coins of that time. So what makes this penny different from all the other billions of pennies out there? Well, one little thing, called a double die. Now don't zone out on me. Double die just means that when the coin was being made, the die, that's the thing that stamps the image onto the coin, shifted slightly during production. It's like trying to print something twice, but the second print is just a hair off. That tiny mistake can turn a regular penny into a collector's dream. On the 1984 no-mint mark penny, the key is Lincoln's ear. Yeah, his ear. On the double die version, it looks like Honest Abe's got a ghost ear behind his real one. Sounds spooky, but it's actually pretty cool. You'll also see some doubling around his jaw and neck. It's subtle, but if you know what to look for, it jumps right out. This isn't just some internet rumor either. One of these bad boys sold for $880,000. That's real cash, real collectors, and real demand. So if you've got a jar of old pennies sitting in your kitchen right now, you might want to pause this video and go dig through it. But come back, because there's more you need to know before you hit the jackpot. Let me tell you about the time I almost tossed a small fortune right into a Coinstar machine. A few years back, I was doing what we all do, trying to get rid of spare change. I had this giant water jug full of pennies, nickels, and dimes. I was about to dump the whole thing in the machine at the grocery store when this old guy behind me says, "You ever check those for rare ones?" I laughed. I'm like, "Who checks pennies?" And he says, "I found a 1943 copper penny last year worth 30 grand. That stopped me in my tracks. 30 grand? For a penny? That night, I started researching rare coins. I got a magnifier, sorted my change by date, started watching coin channels. And sure enough, I found a 1983 double die penny. It wasn't worth 80 grand, but I sold it for $200. From then on, I was hooked out. I even went back to that same Coinstar machine a month later and just watched folks dump in coins, not realizing they might be pouring away thousands. Every time someone skipped a penny and left it on the ground, I'd swoop in like a hawk. People thought I was crazy. But hey, who's crazy now? Let's talk about the current market. The most pristine examples of the 1984 no-mint mark double die penny, ones that haven't been handled much, with all the original luster, are the ones that rake in big bucks. We're talking mint state condition, MS65 and up. That's coin talk for basically untouched by human hands. One such coin hit auction with a grade of MS67 and sold for $880,000. That's no joke. Collectors were battling it out to own this little copper mistake. Why? Because it's rare. Really rare. And in the coin world, rarity equals value. Combine that with strong eye appeal, sharp details, and historical significance, and boom, you've got yourself a life-changing penny. So what can you do? First, start checking every 1984 penny you come across. Keep an eye on Lincoln's ear and jawline. If you see that doubling, don't toss it aside. Put it in a soft holder, not a plastic bag or your jeans pocket. You want to keep that condition as mint as possible. Second, invest in a basic magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You don't need to be a professional to spot the major doubling. And hey, even if you don't find the $880,000 winner, you might still score one worth a few hundred or even a couple grand. Also, start learning the ropes. Watch coin auction results, join coin forums, and subscribe to coin newsletters. You'll start noticing patterns. Which dates and mint marks are hot? What errors are rare? Which coins are sleepers just waiting to explode in value? All right, here's the bottom line. That little penny you ignore every day might be worth more than your car. The 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny with the double die is proof that treasure still exists out there, and it might be in your junk drawer right now. So the next time you're handed change at the store, don't just shove it in your pocket and forget it. Take a look. You never know when a regular OL penny might turn into nearly $1 million. And hey, if you found this video helpful, entertaining, or you just like the idea of becoming rich through pocket change, hit that subscribe button. I drop tips on rare coins, coin collecting strategies, and real stories from folks who struck it rich with coins. Plus, we keep things fun, simple, and real around here. So join the community. Share your finds. And let's keep digging through America's change together. Who knows? Maybe your next penny is the one that changes everything.